Some strikers set records. Dixie Dean made them irrelevant. He didn't chase applause, he chased goals, again and again. 60 in one season, no penalties, no replays, no one since. He didn't lift shirts for cameras, didn't kiss badges for crowds, he rose for headers like gravity didn't apply to him. 383 goals for Everton, still untouched, still unthinkable, still not chanted, no statue while he lived, no banner, no modern roar saying his name. He died in the stands, watching his club, still loyal, still there. He gave them history. The game gave him silence. No lap of honor, no parade, just a seat, and then nothing. But not here, not now. Because before the brands, before the media, before football became content, there was a man who didn't blink and couldn't be stopped. Dixie Dean, the man who made goals look like fate. Subscribe if you believe football's greatest season should never be forgotten, and neither should the man who lived it. He was born William Ralph Dean on January 22, 1907 in Birkenhead, a town of fog, freight, and factory lungs. His father worked the railway. His mother kept the house. There were no boots waiting at the door, just coal dust and cold floors. By 14, he was working. By 15, out-jumping grown men. He didn't grow up on dreams, he grew up on bruises. At 16, he signed for Tranmere Rovers. No parade, no press. Just a handshake and the beginning of something no one saw coming. 30 games, 27 goals. No celebration, no ego. Just a stare that made defenders drop their shoulders before the ball even reached him. He wasn't lightning, he wasn't clever, he was certain. The greatest centre forward there will ever be. Tommy Lawton. Across the water, Everton took notice. In 1925, they paid £3,000 for him. A teenager with a hard jaw and harder boots. He was 18, and already a storm waiting to happen. No quotes, no flashbulbs, just a boy in blue walking through Goodison's gate like he'd always belonged. He didn't arrive with hype, he arrived with purpose. They didn't know it yet, but Everton had just signed the season that football still can't explain. Summer 1926. He was 18, just a year into his Everton story. Still quiet, still learning, still rising. Then came the ride. A motorbike through Holywell. No helmet, no chance. A car pulled out. He never saw it. The impact shattered his jaw, his cheekbone, his skull. Doctors didn't talk about football. They talked about walking. They talked about survival. For most, that crash would have been the end. But Dixie Dean was not most. He didn't give interviews, didn't tell the story. He just vanished, sat at home in silence, and healed. 15 weeks later, he returned. No press, no warning. Just a forward with a rebuilt skull and eyes that defenders couldn't meet for long. He wasn't the same after that. He was worse for them. They say he had a metal plate in his head. They say headers sounded like gunshots. They say a lot of things. Dixie Dean was the greatest centre forward I ever saw. I would have broken my neck to stop him and still not stopped him. Bill Shankly. But one thing's never been disputed. From that crash, a new kind of striker emerged. And when the next season came, he wasn't just fit. He was waiting. 1927 to 28. 1 year after the crash. 1 year after they said he might never play again. He didn't just come back. He changed the shape of football. 60 goals, 39 league games, not a single penalty, not a typo, not an exaggeration. Just destruction. The boots were heavy. The pitches were frozen. The balls turned to bricks in the rain. Didn't matter. He scored with his head, his feet, his instinct, week after week, game after game. He didn't point to the crowd. He didn't beat his chest. He just turned back to halfway like he knew another one was coming. No one's matched it. No one ever will. By March, defenders were beaten before kickoff. By April, he was chasing himself. Final day, Arsenal. He rose for number 60 and got it. No celebration, no lap of honor. Just Dixie Dean quietly finishing what no one else could even start. Everton lifted the league title. He dragged them there. And when the numbers came in, the press didn't believe them. They thought it was an error. Some even tried to correct it. I watched him score 5 on a pitch that was more pond than grass. It wasn't football, it was violence. Bob Paisley. But it wasn't an error, it was Dixie Dean. In the greatest season football has ever seen. He didn't ask for it, he didn't expect it. But after 60 goals, England had no choice. First cap, 1927. Debut goal. No surprise, he didn't play to impress, he played to finish, and finish he did. 16 games, 18 goals, including 3 against Belgium, just instinct. Better than 1 per game, no tricks, no flukes, just instinct. He faced Scotland, Ireland, Wales in games where boots were weapons and blood was normal. He didn't flinch, he just scored. Every cross felt like a countdown. If Dean was in the box, you were already too late. But England never built around him. The fixtures were sparse, the system was chaotic, and Dean? Too northern, too quiet, too focused. He didn't charm the press, he didn't chase glory. He just went back to Everton and did what he always did: deliver. He once scored a hat-trick against Belgium, another day, just 2. For him, it was routine. But England moved on, and Dixie didn't argue. Because legacy wasn't something he talked about, it was something he left behind. 1930, Everton dropped, 2nd division. No shock, just failure. For most players, that's the signal to leave. Blame the board, find a new club, protect your name. But not Dixie Dean, he stayed. No statement, no pay rise, just boots on and back to work. 1930 to 31. They were supposed to struggle. Dean scored 39 league goals. No press tour, no praise, just points. He didn't just help them survive, he got them promoted. And in the next season, 1931 to 32, they won the league. Again. The man who stayed when everything collapsed had pulled them right back to the top. He didn't demand a clause, he delivered a title. And then 1933 FA Cup final. Wembley, Everton versus Manchester City. Dean wore the armband, scored again, lifted the trophy. No speech, no pose, just another job finished by the striker who never needed reminding what loyalty looked like. This wasn't flair, this wasn't luck. This was Dixie Dean. Still leading, still silent, still the reason Everton kept winning. By 1935, the body was slower, the knocks heavier, the game moving on. He left Everton in 1937. No ceremony, no headline, just a name missing from the next matchday sheet. But he wasn't finished. He joined Notts County in 1938. 9 games, 3 goals. Still sharp, still dangerous. But his name no longer echoed. Then came a call from across the water, Sligo Rovers, Ireland. In 1939, he said yes. They met him at the docks, crowds just to glimpse him. Many had never seen him play. All had heard the legend, and he delivered. 7 games, 10 goals. He didn't arrive as a hero, he left as one. He didn't take interviews, didn't ask for headlines, just played, scored, left. After Sligo, there was Hurst, a wartime team, a few more goals, a few more miles, and then he stopped. No press conference, no farewell match, just silence. He'd given football everything, and walked away without asking for anything in return. He never asked for recognition. He never demanded legacy. He lived the way he played: quiet, exact, unshaken. He didn't chase honors after retirement. He didn't sit on panels. He didn't tour talk shows. He just faded. Let football pass him by. Until one day he came back. March 1st, 1980. A derby. Everton versus Liverpool. Goodison Park, packed. Dixie Dean returned to the place that had made him immortal. No announcement, no spotlight, just a seat in the crowd. And sometime during the match, he collapsed. Heart failure. No time, no rescue. He died in the stands, watching his team, at the ground where he scored the impossible. He didn't fade in a hospital bed. He died where his legend was born. There was no final quote, no final game, just the silence of 50,000 people who didn't yet realize that the most mythic striker in English football had taken his last breath on the terraces. Some say it was sudden, Others say it was perfect. Either way, he left the way he lived, with boots on, with eyes forward, still blue. In 2001, they raised his statue. Outside Goodison Park, arms crossed, eyes set, like he was still watching the match. Too late for him to see, but not too late for the game to remember. Now fans tie scarves around his neck. They leave flowers at his feet, some whisper thanks, some just stand still. He wasn't a player, he was a cathedral. James Corbett, 383 goals for Everton. Some said 60, officially. 37. That's not form, that's religion. 60 goals in a single league season. Still unbeaten, still untouched, still unthinkable. Messi didn't do it, Ronaldo didn't do it, no one did, no one will. He didn't build a brand, didn't chase records. He just set them and left them behind like they were nothing. He didn't care for fame, but the number did. 60. It's more than a statistic. It's a message from a man who never asked to be remembered and made it impossible to forget him. You won't see him trending. You won't see his face in highlight reels. But when a striker rises for a header, eyes closed, crowd rising, they're still chasing one thing. Dixie Dean, the man who made the net a destination and turned goals into legend. Subscribe if you believe some numbers are sacred and some names should never be buried beneath the noise.